Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. I thought we might have a look at deadbolts and have a little deadbolt war with Brava versus Carbine versus Lockton. Have a look and see what's actually different between them. All of these three brands I've used, all of these three brands I'd be happy to sell. The reason as a locksmith we use these type of brands is because we want warranty, and I've had no problem with all of these three. There's very little difference, and we'll see if we can spot some differences. And if you've got a difference or you know something about one over the other, just leave it down in the comments. Alright, so let's go over the standard Brava. So this is a Brava deadbolt available on our lock shop, part number D362B, stainless steel finish, keyway is LW4 or C4. Back set is 60 to 70mm adjustable, suitable for doors from 35 to 45mm. Alright, let's have a look what's involved in this one. So you have your standard stainless steel striker plate, you have an Allen key, and you have 4 wood screws, and you have 2 little plugs here. 2 little plugs I don't advise using, because once you put them in, it's going to be very hard to get the lock off the door next time. So I'll just take out everything out of the box. Okay, so we have our deadbolt. Now what makes this different to a lot of other deadbolts is that you've got a hardened pin through the center surrounded by a brass rod. This is stronger than a lot of normal other deadbolts. A lot of cheap deadbolts that you get from your hardware have 2 little dots on the front, and they're made out of a zinc alloy, and it's basically die cast, and when it's kicked it generally fails on the latch and just breaks in half. So for this one here, when you activate it, you simply turn your key and it projects the brass bolt there by about 25mm. The actual diameter of this bolt as well, we can look at that. You'd be looking about 19mm. So I prefer these type of locks because they project a bigger bolt over even some of the Lockwood locks. Like there's a Lockwood, I think it's the 005 that's come out, that only projects a little bit of a bolt, like half of that. So I prefer this type. It is adjustable, so let's go through and adjust that now. I believe you have to pop it out, give it a twist and rotate it. Now it's in the 70mm position, and if you do it in reverse, that's the 60mm position. Okay, so that's the bolt, that's the screws, the striker plate. Okay, so Brava, the keys are branded Brava on one side, they've got the bitting on the other side, so it's nice and easy to use these keys to rekey the rest of the house to, or it's easy to reuse the keys if you're keying them up on another lock. From the outside, there's your cylinder. There's your inside cylinder. Those 2 plugs we spoke about before are designed to actually go into these holes here to hide the Allen keys. Generally speaking, once you put them in there, they can get stuck in there and it can be a real nightmare to get them out. For serviceability, I generally just leave them out. I think a lot of other people do. From the front, that is what you're looking at. It's just your standard deadbolt. The hardest part about this deadbolt is holding it all on the door while you screw it on the door. You've got to get the front in, got to get the back in, got to get the tails lined up, then you've got to use an Allen key while you're holding all 4 or 5 things together. Alright, so that's what the deadbolt looks like from the front. Satin stainless, nothing really to report. On the inside, once again, satin stainless, nothing to report. Just a standard deadbolt. The quality of these is far superior than a lot of the cheaper ones. Look identical that you get from your hardware shop. I'll show you some of the differences here. So these parts here are, I'm not sure what they are. They're not stainless, but they're not mild steel either. But they can be quite sharp. Made in Taiwan, not China. There's a difference. Right, let's look at this here. So we have a PD cylinder, which is just the name of the shape of the cylinder, which is different because a lot of other cheaper locks, they're using die cast. We're using a solid brass one here, and this housing also allows for the cylinder to be removed and a restricted one or a special type of cylinder be put in the same housing. And I've seen that done a few times where we can put multi-lock into a cylinder like this or some other high-end keying systems, and we just basically use the whole frame of the lock because the latch, the frame, everything's good. It's just the key part we change out. And by having that screw on the back is quite good. This is solid. Solid brass. The builder's absolutely no problem with it. These are good quality ones compared to what you normally see in your hardware. Now this ring, this basically just steps that out a little bit. If you've got a 35mm door, you'd want to use them. If you've got almost a 50mm door, you probably want to just leave these off. Alright, so that is Brava. Let's go Carbine. Alright, so Carbine ALB1444. This is a polished brass version. That's a satin. This is a polished brass. Back set 60mm. DD bolt, so double deadbolt. Okay, let's have a look. I mean, the boxes are almost identical. I wouldn't be surprised if these came out in the same factory because they are really identical. Alright, once again, identical in the screws, different colour. Identical in the striker plate. This is the inside. Once again, identical. This is the bolt. Now, this particular bolt right here is the same in all regards. The size, the shape, you know, 19mm projection, 25mm. The only difference is it's not an adjustable latch, so you can only have this one in 60. But on saying that too, less parts, might be stronger. Leave it down in the description if you've had any troubles with the adjustable latches over the fixed latch. I personally haven't. So this is polished brass. I should have actually brought one out in silver. I actually thought this was silver. And that's what it looks like from the front. Get this ring on there properly so I can show you. That's what it looks like from the inside. Fairly straightforward and standard. On the back too, made in Taiwan, exact same position. And if you look at the actual cylinder and the makeup, it looks identical. So you've got the DW there, you've got the PD cylinder with the screw, which so you can exchange the whole cylinder out. So identical build. The only difference really is who the importer is, who's selling them, and sometimes a little bit on price. One is cheaper, one's more expensive. So as far as Carbine and Brava, I cannot see any real difference there. Let's look at the keys now too. Let's be fair. Carbine, and is there bidding on the back? Yes, there is. So keys cut to code with bidding on the back always makes it easier. Slightly different on the keys. One is stamped with a impact dot marking stamper, and these ones seem to be laser engraved. A little bit of difference there, not much. Just making sure it's all going to go back in the box, so when I want to install it, it'll all be there. Okay, now Lockton. Lockton is a product. They make pretty much the same thing. All these products are pretty much the same. They just come from different places. This is not your hardware grade of lock. This is the next step up. It's like reliable hardware. You know, it's hardware you can kind of count on. And that's why locksmiths use these three particular brands, is because we can rely on the quality of them. So this one here, Lockton, they do the same thing. Model number SGDB4011KD. KD meaning key to differ. Double cylinder deadbolt, satin stainless finish, 60 to 70mm adjustable, 30 to 45mm doors. So I think, what do we have here? I didn't say. This one here goes up to 45. So size-wise the same. Adjustable latch is comparing it to Brava. It's only a downfall about the Carbine, but on saying that, very rare would you ever do a 70mm deadbolt. Okay, so let's look at the latch now. It's got instructions to go up. It's got the 2 3/8 or 2 3/4 there. I believe you push this one in and you pull it back. It's been a long time since I've done this one. Okay, so you lift that up. Do we lift and slide, or do we push and slide? Okay. That's how uncommon it is to actually have to do this. Okay, up. I cannot easily slide it across. Alright, leave that for another day. I'll pull out the instructions and find out what's going on there. Okay, the keys now. So this was a 5-pin, that was a 5-pin, now we're using a 6-pin. The Brava could accommodate 6-pin, but it's been deliberately set up for 5-pin, same with the Carbine as well. Lockton's actually set it up with a 6-pin, which is less friendly if you're rekeying this new lock to the rest of the house, or you're using these keys for the rest of the house. Your screws, once again, identical. You've got 4 wooden screws and an Allen key, and a couple of rivets, which I don't suggest you use. Your striker plate, once again, it's stainless. This is, well, that's that's like polished stainless, as where the lock is more satin. We've got 1 bag for everything, as where the other ones come in 2 bag. Okay, so I've got the front of the lock here, and what I'm noticing is there is no branding of Lockton whatsoever. And I'm going to flip it over now. This one also is made in Taiwan. None of these are made in China. I'm seeing the PD cylinder, and I'm also seeing that screw that holds the PD cylinder into this housing. It's a solid body once again, and it's solid brass cylinder, which is very good. And let's have a look at the rings. Okay, so these are the rings that go on the inside there. You're going to leave them off, so we've got the branding pretty much in the same spot. This is a completely different design. Like, there is differences there. It's the same thing, but it's a little bit different. You'd probably be able to interchange some of the parts. That's how close they are. So the lock itself is made up of the right materials. The build of it, the interchangeableness of the cylinder is good. No branding, that's okay too. There's no problems going on there. The instructions, they all come with the standard type instructions, but what I'd like to do is find out how to adjust that bolt, because that should be quite easy. The actual, and the instructions don't even match the product. That's interesting. Here we go. So, change lever. Okay, so the bolt out, bolt in. Okay, rotate the latch. Rotate latch, crank the retract latch bolt in the unlocked position. Push the change lever up